And a very happy day, ladies and gentlemen. Tim Burgess back with Think and Grow Rich and the Mystery, Part 3. Now, in the last video, we talked about the orange bucket and the hose and the intuition and how we get these ideas from infinite intelligence. And, you know, the reason I went into that analogy very, very simply is to help you gain clarity on the screen of your mind of this thing called infinite intelligence, this thing called creative imagination, or the sixth sense, and then, of course, intuition. And remember, where we don't have clarity on the screen of our mind, we have confusion. And where we have confusion, right behind that comes worry, doubt, fear, and anxiety. So remember to gain clarity on the screen of your mind about things in life, and you'll eliminate a lot of the confusion, you'll eliminate a lot of the worry that you have in your life just by having clarity. So in today's video, I want to talk about a section of this chapter that's really intriguing, and it's certainly weighed right in on my own life. And he says, why men seldom succeed before 40. Now, I can only come from a man's perspective on this. I don't have the right body parts to come from a woman's perspective. So I'll come from a man's perspective and just transmute it to a woman's perspective, okay, if indeed you're a female. He says this, I discovered from the analysis of over 25,000 people that men who succeed in an outstanding way seldom do so before the age of 40. And more often they don't strike their real pace until they're well beyond the age of 50. He says this fact was so astounding that it prompted me to go into the study of its cause most carefully, carrying the investigation over a period of more than 12 years. So right there, ladies and gentlemen, make sure we understand Napoleon isn't just throwing together some words and hypothesis based on, a couple of days of looking into something. 12 years of study. And he says this study disclosed the fact that the major reason why the majority of men who succeed do not begin to do so before the age of 40 to 50 is their tendency to dissipate their energies through overindulgence in the physical expression of sex. So, from a guy's perspective, up until the age of 40 or 50, you're spending all of your energy out chasing tail all over the place. You've never not learned how to transmute that energy into a constructive, productive outlet that enriches and nourishes the soul. And oh, by the way, I'm as guilty of that as the day is long. Except I wasn't doing it with just any person. I've been married for a long time, since 1988. And it's crazy how that rings so true. Think about it. Don't just judge it. Think about it, okay? Excuse me. The majority of men never learn that the urge of sex has other possibilities, which far transcend in importance. In other words, the other possibilities are far more important than just the physical act of, right? The majority of those who make this discovery do so after having wasted many years at a period when sex energy is at its height, prior to the age of 45 or 50. This usually is followed by noteworthy achievement. So if you're below this age and you're in your 30s, and we work with a lot of people in their 20s and 30s. As a matter of fact, I gave a copy of this book and most importantly brought this chapter to the attention of a very young 22-year-old recently. And I just wanted to help them understand the importance of the emotion, not just the physical act of. Because let's just be honest, the physical act of, let me go off on a tangent here for a minute. How many of you find it challenging just to perform the physical act of? It's not challenging at all. That is one of the things that's absolutely inherent. We absolutely know how to do that automatically. So there's no challenge in just performing the physical act of. No challenge at all. However, the challenge comes when it comes to mixing the emotion of love, romance, and sex. Combine all three of these emotions together. That's where the challenge comes in. Because let's be honest, the physical act of is no challenge at all. None. He says the lives of many men, and sometimes well past the lives of many men up to, and sometimes well past the age of 40, reflect a continued dissipation of energies, which could have been more profitably turned into better channels. Their finer and more powerful emotions are sown wildly to the four winds. Out of this habit of the male grew the term, sowing his wild oats. Now, I know I'm dating myself with that one. Most of you, man, might not have ever even heard that term. Well, basically what Napoleon is saying here is when we're young, we are so loaded with this thing called sexual energy, which, oh, by the way, is nothing more than charisma, enthusiasm, and magnetism. That's all it is. And, oh, by the way, all of us are loaded with an overabundance of magnetism, charisma, and enthusiasm. The question is, how much have we suppressed it and pushed it back inside? Because of the conditioning of the past, where we were taught that sex is dirty, it's vulgar. I mean, think about the way people have misinterpreted this subject. Napoleon says they are unpardonably ignorant on this subject. And I was one of those people. I was absolutely ignorant. No question. He says one of the most successful men in America owes most of his success to the influences of a very charming young woman who has served as his source of inspiration for more than 12 years. Everyone knows the man to whom this reference is made, but not everyone knows the real source of his achievements. One of the things that Napoleon Hill found is behind every great success is a motive. What's the motive? And I know right now some of you just went, well, duh, Tim, no kidding. Yeah, absolutely. So what's the motive? For guys, if we absolutely will open our mind and get rid of all of this garbage that's been cast upon us over all these years, we'll realize that one of our strongest desires, hands down, is that of pleasing woman. Yeah, one of our strongest desires. Now, woman doesn't really understand this. So they don't really know how to cater to a man to build the self-confidence. And in a later section of this chapter, Napoleon Hill is going to make it very clear that woman can either make or break a man. And how much do we know that to be true? He says, let it be remembered that many such men have destroyed themselves in the end. He continues and he says, the world is ruled and the destiny of civilization is established by the human emotions. People are influenced in their actions not by reason so much as by feelings. The creative faculty of the mind is set into action entirely by emotions. Ladies and gentlemen, we're driven by how we feel. Thoughts cause a feeling. Feelings are then expressed in actions, and actions, of course, produce results. But make no mistake, it's the feeling that is expressed in action, not the thought. I mean, people, how many times have you seen somebody they're thinking diet, they're thinking they want to lose weight, that's where their thought is, their conscious thought is on that. They're at a party, they walk by a table, next thing you know, they're eating a piece of cake. What happened to the thought? That didn't become the action. The feeling of, I want that cake, became their immediate action. Now, we've all seen this, so don't discount this. We've all seen that happen, okay? The world is ruled, and the destiny of civilization is established by the human emotions. People are influenced in their actions not by reason so much as by feelings. We act out of feelings. A mind stimulant is any influence which will either temporarily or permanently increase the vibration of thought. When you think of the sex emotion, you get that sex emotion, that's going to increase the vibration of thought. So if it's all just directed toward the physical act of sex, we won't take intelligent action. We take actions that are distorted. They're all over the place. There's no continuity to them. There's no organization to the actions. We're just running all over the place. We're like a leaf on a tree in a windstorm. We're blowing any direction the wind blows. As long as that's where the tail is, we'll just keep going that way. Sheesh. He talks about this. This is so important here. And this was when I really realized the importance of this chapter, is when I grasped what he was talking about here. He says, a teacher who has trained and directed the efforts of more than 30,000 salespeople made the astounding discovery that highly sexed people are the most efficient salespeople. The explanation is that the factor of personality known as personal magnetism is nothing more nor less than sex energy. Highly sexed people always have a plentiful supply of magnetism. Now, he says highly sexed people. That's intelligently sexed people. We should put that in there. Highly intelligently sexed people. So these aren't people running around all over the place, just sleeping with anybody, anytime, anywhere, just to satisfy this primal urge, like it's primitive, man, like we're cavemen again or something. They're not doing that. See, the highly sexed people he's talking about are people who it's the emotion of sex, and with the emotion of sex, with their partner, there's the emotion of love. There's the emotion of romance. So it's not just the physical act of sex. Make sure we understand the difference here, ladies and gentlemen, because nowhere in this chapter does Napoleon Hill say we should abstain from sex. He says we should control the urge of sex. That's what he's saying, okay? So this teacher discovered this, and through cultivation and understanding, this vital force may be drawn upon and used to great advantage in the relationship between people. This energy may be communicated to others through the following media. The handshake. Now, most people just go through life never thinking about the handshake. My first mentor taught me so much about how to shake somebody's hand and what to register in my own mind from that handshake. You see, most people just shake the hand and go on about business. Why would you do that? Learn to shake somebody's hand with confidence. Learn to shake somebody's hand and then read the energy from them. Yeah, read the energy from them. I don't have time to go into great detail on this right now in this video. Reach out to us, contact us. I'll be happy, more than happy to get on a phone call with you and explain exactly what he taught me. The tone of voice. Magnetism or sex energy is the factor with which the voice may be colored or made musical and charming. Posture and carriage of the body. He says highly sexed people move briskly, with grace and ease. You ever seen somebody walking somewhere and it seems like they're walking in slow motion? I mean, if they were going any slower, they'd be going backwards. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Yeah. The vibrations of thought. He says highly sexed people mix the emotion of sex with their thoughts, or may do so at will. Highly sexed people mix the emotion of sex with their thoughts. Not the physical act of, the emotion of. Enthusiasm, magnetism, charisma. They're mixing that with their thoughts. And of course, body adornment. People who are highly sexed are usually very careful about their appearance. They usually select clothing of a style becoming to their personality, physique, and complexion. And so we've got posture, we've got clothing, we've got magnetism in the voice, we've got the handshake. So when we're employing salesmen, the more capable sales manager looks for the quality of personal magnetism as the first requirement of a good salesperson. If you don't have personal magnetism, why would anybody want to approach you to purchase anything? Let me ask you a question. Would you want to go to, let's say, an automobile lot? You're going to buy a car today. And you walk onto the car lot, and the person you run into is Doom and Gloom Gary. And if your name's Gary, no offense, okay? But you got Doom and Gloom Gary. Doom and Gloom Gary just standing around on the lot. How many of you are going to approach this salesperson to buy a car? You're not going to. However, if you go onto the same lot and you have a capable salesperson who understands the art of sales and understands this particular concept we're talking about, you'll have somebody that walks up and they'll have an enormous amount of enthusiasm. They'll have magnetism. You'll be drawn to them. You may not even know why. It's because they have that magnetism. They have that charisma. They have the enthusiasm of what they're doing. They want to make sure you get the right automobile. A good car salesman wants you to have the right automobile, not just an automobile. And if they do all of these things, and they connect with you at this level, you'll feel comfortable and you will purchase a car from this person. However, the person that just comes out there trying to get your money, you'll read that energy, won't you? No question about it, you'll read that energy. So, make sure that you're aware of not only the energy you're giving off, the energy that you're receiving. He says, the salesman who knows how to take his mind off the subject of sex and direct it in sales effort with as much enthusiasm and determination as he would apply to its original purpose, has acquired the art of sex transmutation. whether he knows it or not. See, the majority of salesmen who transmute their sex energy do so without being in the least bit aware of what they're doing or how they're doing it. They're just doing it. And that is why they become master salespeople. So, are you in sales? Just go ahead and say yes. Even if you're an engineer somewhere behind a desk, just creating ideas or building bridges or something like this, you are still in sales. Because as you take a rendition or a drawing of your creation to other people, you are selling them on this idea. Are you not? When you go to the home tonight, and let's say you want something different for dinner, are you in sales to sell the rest of the people on the idea of what you want for dinner? Yes, you are. So, ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake, all of us are in sales to one degree or another. Every one of us is in sales, and we sell every day. Now, here's the problem that some of us have. We sell bullshit to ourselves, and then we buy it. And we buy our own BS, and we shouldn't be buying our own BS. That's crazy, isn't it? So let's wrap up this video by talking about the reasoning faculty of the mind. We all have one of these, right? And he says the reasoning faculty is often faulty because it is largely guided by one's accumulated experience. Not all knowledge which one accumulates through experience is accurate. The knowledge I accumulated through the experience of chasing tail all over the place was not accurate. Made me feel good for a quick moment. And then, of course, once I met my wife, and we've been together now for over 40 years, I stopped that chasing all over the place, but my mind was still nothing on the physical act of. It was crazy, man. Not all knowledge which one accumulates through experience is accurate. Ideas received through the creative faculty are much more reliable for the reason that they come from sources more reliable than any which are available to the reasoning faculty of the mind. So where we get this knowledge, remember the orange bucket analogy, and then the hose, and then boom, it kind of attaches right here to our intuition, that gut feeling we get. That information is much more accurate than all of the accumulated experience that we have. So remember, when it comes to the art of transmutation, you and I are in control of this thing called the mind. Now that doesn't mean we control it, but we are in control of it. So the more we study this material, the more we embrace this material and open our minds to the possibility of implementing this to benefit our own lives, the better off we'll be. There's no question about that. As always, I want to take a moment to thank Joe. I mean, truly, without Joe, we wouldn't be here today. Joe is the one who reminded me of one phrase that Napoleon Hill said that started this whole thing and got it going. And I really appreciate Joe for all that he does, for all that he reminds me of. Joe studies this material each and every day, and Joe has absolutely massively changed his life for the better because of this material. So if you ever get a chance to talk to Joe, please do so. As always, our greatest desire, one of our greatest desires, is that this day be the very best day you've ever experienced in this game we call life. Yesterday doesn't matter, it's ancient history. Tomorrow isn't here, you can't do a damn thing about it. Except prepare yourself to receive the good that you desire from that day. That you can do. However, this day, this moment, you can decide to allow it to be the very best you've ever experienced. Tonight when you put your head on a pillow, please do so with a mind full of peace. Remember, calmness of mind is one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom. And may God bless each and every one of you. Have a fabulous day today.